But a lot of times it's not as much as you think. I mean,
Yeah, we're part of a tax consortium through Robin Shorts, and we could always talk with the representatives and they can provide the information that you're looking for.
Yeah, because I'm wondering, I mean, there's a lot of homes though too where they're being taxed at 65 years and older. They're on the freeze, and it's the children that are living there. Or the person owns 3 or 4 homes and everything and claiming 65 on all of them.
that's something that you would have to investigate.
And
I'll be real honest, it may not be real popular.
no, okay. We'll drop that then.
No, I'm just saying, because I've seen something like that done, but you're right, if people will do that.
Well,
Especially
people
now
are
since
doing it. And
you don't have to sign the form anymore.
yeah.
We can check that out. I mean, it's not hard, but I doubt if it's more than 5% of your tax base.
So it's not going to be, it's not worth
I
it.
don't think so.
Okay.
I mean, we can do the numbers, but I don't think you're going to have to do a special levy for that.
No.
Yeah.
But
I
not
mean-
the movie theater, because that's supposed to open September, October.
September,
And that's been
yeah.
vacant for a while. So that will be back on the books.
If it's vacant, they had to pay on the land, so what's the difference?
So it'll be the difference on that, whatever else comes up, like the culverts or whatever.
It's very simple. We can, if the village is willing to get, and they had to have building permits for all of it and get them in.
Regardless, we'll go to Robin Shorts,
Yeah.
who represents us
Right, I don't
when
mean
it comes
to-
to
yeah.
PTABs, Property Tax Appeals Board. They're a third party, they're going to give us an unbiased opinion, and that will have the information that you can present. It's very accurate. They do this over and over and over. I believe the Park District uses they're part of the consortium. Union Ridge is a part of the consortium. RHS is a part of the consortium. Menoyer, as well as the township fire department. So they can provide that information. It's accessible. It's at their hands. If you want me to, I'll just follow through and I'll get the data that you need. And maybe if necessary, we can just have them do a quick presentation so that you get the facts, right? Because you're always going to hear that this piece of property is going to pull in a certain amount of money.
Right, and it never comes in.
I don't get sales tax. If I got sales tax, we wouldn't be having conversations like we're having today.
Yeah, remember that we didn't.
I think there was a difference in between, yeah, like they said that the mall's going to bring in millions, and maybe it's millions in sales tax, but it's not going to be in millions in property tax.
Remember the last.
And by the way, we're one of the counties that is exempt from actually applying for the sales tax
Right.
and actually receiving those funds. So that's a whole different conversation for a whole different day.
By the way, the other thing I would just mention, all of your edification, is that there were some other things that part of this legislation. First is that you can reduce the amount of PE from 5 days a week to 3 days a week. So that's going to happen, and they did that to try and help districts out with their staffing and stuff. So that could help out the district with regards to requirements and saving some regular teaching jobs if they so choose. The other thing is that
What about the diabetes problems? I mean, they're putting a tax on the pop and everything, and they say that the physical ed is just as important as that. So
you got to make that decision. But I'm just saying what they did.
what they'll raise, okay.
Okay.
Thank
So
you.
you're saying there's a second thing besides the PE?
Well, driver's ed was the other
Oh.
thing. That they said you did contract it out. So it'd be interesting.
I have a multiple part in it, but this is just kind of as basic as we can put it. First part is for this school year with our deficit reduction plan, we are on task. We did accomplish what we wanted to do, added what we needed. We hit our target for this school year.
Yes.
Moving forward, again, just to clarify, regardless of property taxes being redone, regardless of SB1, neither one of those help us for next year.
At this point, they do not.
So that is going to rely on either A, going to phase 2, unless there is some other way that the school can get funds.
Correct.
Any other questions about the show? Discussion. Motion to approve the adoption of the 2017-2018 budget.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Discussion. Get a roll call, please.
Mr. Belfiore?
Yes.
Mr. Weston?
Yes.
Mr. Bionda?
Yes.
Mrs. Coletti?
Yes.
Mr. DeGiulio?
Yes.
Mr. Adesanya?
Yes. Motion approved, the adoption of the 2017-18 budget. We can adjourn the 2017-18 budget adoption hearing. I'd like to call Mr. Adam McCready to take his oath of office. The record show that Mr. McCready is not here. You roll call, please.
Mr. Vallafua?
Here.
Mr. Vianda?
Here.
Mr. DeGiulio?
Here.
Mr. Ludston?
Here.
Mr. McGreedy? Mrs. Floody?
Here.
Mr. Adesanya?
Here. Moving on to the rise of the Pledge of Allegiance.
United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please read our mission.
Mission of our school district is inspiring educational excellence and nurturing environment.
Thank you. I'd like to recognize our visitors for coming out on a beautiful night, and thank you for spending the evening with us. Several pieces of correspondence. And we're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 or 10 FOIAs. And we'll go right into the presentation of restorative justice.
In July, when I presented the Lee School Plan, I spoke to you about restorative justice, and I had a couple of questions. So I asked our two new restorative justice deans, Ingrid Crevice and Bob Backey, to come tonight to speak to you a little bit more about restorative justice, and then our social workers, Ralph Schwartz and Brittany Denier, to update you on everything that's going on in business. So enjoy the presentation.
Welcome, everyone. Again, thank you very much for allowing us this opportunity to come.
Sure. So restorative justice is a philosophy that has been around for a while. Part of the reason that we are hearing about it more in Illinois is because of Senate Bill 100. It passed several key elements which provided the images to implement restorative justice programs all across the state. Some of the things that Senate Bill 100 does is it eliminates zero tolerance policies, puts restrictions on harsh discipline consequences, ensures that out-of-school suspensions and disciplinary referrals to alternative schools are used only for legitimate educational purposes. And it focuses on meeting student needs and addressing the actual causes of discipline issues. It also promotes proven disciplinary alternatives and improves professional development for staff and teachers.
It also protects students from additional academic consequences, and it ensures greater transparency and accountability to parents and guardians. It prohibits school pushouts, and it eliminates disciplinary fines and fees. And then finally, it holds charter schools and traditional public schools to the same standards. So what is restorative justice? So restorative justice is a revolutionary program based on respect, responsibility, relationship building, and relationship repairing. And you're going to hear that a lot as we speak today. We always want to make what was wrong, we want to make it right. So it focuses on mediation and agreement rather than punishment. So bringing the parties together, figuring out what caused our issue, and then how are we going to move forward and resolve this issue so that everyone feels comfortable and everyone feels safe. So it aims to keep kids in school and create a safe environment. So one of the pioneers of restorative justice is Ron Clausen. And he said that restorative justice is a fundamental change in how you respond to rule violations and misbehavior. So using restorative justice, we want to make sure that the typical response to bad behavior has been punishment. Now what we want to do, we want to resolve the problem in a cooperative and constructive way. So those are some things that we're doing as restorative justice deans in the buildings.
Sure. So if a student is misbehaving and we have a restorative justice system, that offending student is given a chance to sit down, come forward and make things right. They sit down in a circle or one-on-one with a teacher or administrator. and work together to make sure that they and the affected parties have had a chance to work it out. So some of the questions that a teacher or mediator might ask would be very open-ended, like what happened, who was affected, how did it happen, and what can we do to make things right? And throughout those discussions, they get a better understanding of the causes behind their behavior, how it happened, why it happened, and how that damage can be fixed.
So we work closely with the social workers. Whenever there's an issue, depending on the situation, we will always communicate with the social workers, and we bring them in because we want to make sure that the children feel comfortable. They understand that what they did was not right. Most of the time, they feel that they understand what they did was not right. But the social workers come in and they add an extra layer of support to the discussion so that we can all be on the same page. Is there anything you wanted to add?
I mean, I think that it's a good pairing. I mean, sometimes it's nice to have two adults involved and kind of both facilitating the conversation on the emotional standpoint of, you know, what's going on that maybe made you behave this way, and then also kind of working through with the mediation. And I don't know, I think it makes for a good team. And
yeah, no, I agree.
No, absolutely. We work very closely. We're constantly in communication. So, restorative justice, so we'll talk about what can be done to repair the harm. So they'll come up with a plan and we'll fulfill the plan. The plan could be a variety of different things, and we're going to talk about that here on our next slide. So some of the consequences that are fair and not punitive would be very popular. What we do here at both buildings is think sheets, where the kids have the opportunity to sit down and kind of cool down, de-escalate, and describe to us what happened in the situation, how did the situation begin, and how can we move forward and try to repair the harm that is placed. So these are very popular both in the K-4 building and the 5-8 building. Another things that we do, we have listed here on the side, so we can do a mini course and an assignment. So if a student typically is just not behaving in a classroom environment, constantly not following the directions, there are disruptions to the learning environment, we can pull them to the side and we can have them do some research on ways that we need, how can we control our behavior, what triggers us, and then try to have them do this work on paper and then have our discussion on how we can move forward to, again, make things right. Another very popular is a behavioral contract that can take place so that the students know that we're holding them accountable for their actions. So, and we constantly review that contract when they come in, and we'll say, are you following what you wrote, what you came up with, the plan you came up with, right? Are you executing it or are you not? And we can have those discussions with them. Also, handwritten apology, presentation to the class. You know, the biggest judges are in the jury are your peers.
I have an example that 2 years ago, Dr. Mann and I had a group of girls that were cyberbullying another student. So we had them sit down and work together to create a presentation on what is bullying, what does that look like, how does that affect the bully and the victim, and they actually had to present it to all of the classrooms, which sometimes is enough of a learning experience that it stops the behavior.
Last year we had a group of middle school students who were disrespectful to a substitute. And they all, you know, when we talked to them, they all knew what they did. So we had them work on a presentation to give to the younger kids about how you should treat visitors and guests at the building. And it was very effective. Putting them in the other seat, teaching the younger children about how you're supposed to treat a substitute.
So some of the others, as we talk about think sheets, meet with a police officer, restorative circles. We implemented that last year with 5th and 4th grade. Social workers have led this, and we're going to continue to do this year. It's been very popular, and so we're going to continue that.